No cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like starlight
to
now.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks
I
swell.
ought to say no, no,
Mind
no,
if
sir.
I move in
At
closer?
least I'm gonna say that I tried.
Oh, what's the sense of hurting my pride?
I really can't say.
Baby, don't hold out. Baby, it's cold outside.
You're very pushy, you know.
I like to think of it as opportunistic.
I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
But baby, it's cold outside.
The welcome has been
How lucky that you
so
dropped in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that
My
star.
sister will be suspicious.
Gosh, your lips look
My brother
delicious.
will be there at the door.
Waves upon a tropical
My
shore.
maiden aunt's mind is
Gosh,
vicious.
your lips are
Or maybe
delicious.
just a cigarette more.
Never such a
And I don't even
blizzard
smoke.
before.
I gotta get home.
Baby, you'll freeze out there.
Say, lend me your comb.
It's up to your knees out there.
You've really been grand.
I feel when I touch your
But
hand.
don't you see?
How can you do this thing to me?
There's bound to be a talk tomorrow.
Think of my lifelong
At least there'll
sorrow.
be plenty in play.
If you got pneumonia and
I
die,
really can't stay.
get over that hold up. Baby, it's cold. Baby, it's cold outside.
Okay, fine. Just another drink then.
Well, that took a lot of convincing.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for tonight's Sonder Social. We are going to dive into some indulgence prompts from the Silk and Sonder Journal for this month. So super, super excited to have you all join me tonight. I am joined by the amazing, the one and only Jennifer O, who will be co-facilitating with me tonight. There she is. So she'll be popping in the chat and she'll kind of help me navigate the Sonder Social. I know the chat gets really active, which we all love here at Silk and Sonder. So definitely be sure to pop in the chat. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. And without further ado, I guess we can dive right in. And just for those of you who have never seen me before, I'm Malika. I will be your Sonder Social facilitator this evening. And I will walk you through some journaling prompts, both from in the journal and an additional indulgence activity that I'm really excited about tonight. So we will kind of go through that, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, there we go. Okay, so this month's theme is indulgence. So indulgence is interesting because it's defined as, the act of giving way to one's desires, and something typically granted as a privilege or something that is enjoyed out of gratification. So indulgence can come in a lot of different forms. And I invite you to think about it as a way to treat yourself this holiday season. So oftentimes this month we are giving to others. It's a time of reflection. It's a time for giving back. And, sometimes we need to focus on how we can be our best selves in order to give effectively. So how can you allow yourself to be indulgent? I think that's very important. And I think we've everyone on this call, by the way, has already taken that first step into treating yourself, because you've all dedicated an hour here at Silk and Sonder, and you've joined this wonderful time to really dive deeper with yourselves and journal together. So we love to see that little first step into something that you can indulge in. It comes in a lot of different forms. So we love to see each and every one of those indulgences, and would love to hear more as we dive in. So something that I've been really challenging myself this month is taking, a portion of my day, if I can't dedicate a whole day, but a good chunk of my weekend, or like a full, try to, indulge in as many things that I can, given my time to myself. So what can I do in that time to really treat myself? If it's enjoying a cup of coffee, is it, dedicating some time in the morning to journal? Is it buying a skincare product that I really wanted? It comes in a lot of different forms. I personally like to turn off all my electronics and go to a hot yoga class once in a while. And that's how I indulge in, having time with myself. So it can really come in a lot of different forms. And as a woman, I think, especially as women, I'm often, I reflect back and I think we're subliminally told, maybe we don't deserve to do X, or maybe we don't deserve to do this. And I have to kind of unlearn those negative voices and recognize the importance of indulging and making sure that I make time for the things that really make me happy. So, with that, I want to kind of dive into the agenda for tonight. So, first, we'll kick off with writing down our indulgences on page 16. And then we'll move into an indulgence activity. And then we'll close out with the perfect date on page 17. And we'll close the Sonder Social and lead you to the rest of your week. I know for those of you who have been to Sonder Socials before, this is a little different. We've kind of mixed up the order, but it's intentional, and you'll see why. But let's first dive into the first indulgence prompt, which is on page 16 of your journals. Click the next slide. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to navigate to page 16. And this page is really taking some time to reflect on what indulgences you'll allow yourself to indulge in this month. And they're broken out by category. And what I did is I kind of colored them in because I wanted some color. So I decided to fill that in, and go ahead and write down some indulgences that you'll do for this month. So we'll all take a few minutes and spend some time reflecting. And as you write them down, I encourage you to share in the chat what you wrote down. What is your indulgence? And you don't have to say the category. You can just say what your indulgence is. So go ahead and be sure to make sure your chat is set to everyone. Sometimes it auto defaults to host and panelists. So I want to make sure that everyone can see your wonderful indulgences that you'll be popping into the chat. So with that, I will hop off video and we'll take a few minutes to write down our indulgences. All right. I think that there's been a lot of great ideas for indulgences. There's some that I wrote down on the side, even though I have mine filled in. I definitely agree with a lot of them. I think there's a lot of true crime fans in this group. So I echo that. I love a good true crime Netflix documentary. So I really, really agree with a lot of the true crime lovers out there. I think there were some, just spending some time watching a fun show. I saw Schitt's Creek, Grey's Anatomy, lots of fun shows. I wrote Desperate Housewives. It's my comfort show. I don't know why, but it's just one of my favorite shows ever. So I love rewatching that for some reason. And I saw there were some holiday parties upcoming for events that people were looking forward to, a lot of self-care, great self-care activities. Someone said there's Slick and Sonder journal and baths. I love that combination. I definitely wish I took more baths. So maybe I'll try to fit that in this month. That definitely inspires me. A lot of holiday themed indulgences for this month, some peppermint hot cocoa, some Starbucks Christmas drinks, holiday drinks. There's so many fun, delicious treats out in, anywhere you go these days. So I definitely love to take part of that as well. So super fun to read through all of your self-care indulgences and all the other categories as well. I think it's really important that we write these down because they can really help us identify, okay, these are the indulgences that I'm going to try to, work on this month, something that I can do for myself that truly makes me happy. And I think that's really important to write it down and recognize what we can do. So for the next activity is the indulgences activity. So this one, I want everyone to either flip to like a scratch paper if you have one nearby, or if you have, a blank piece of paper somewhere, or even if it's the last page of your Silk and Sonder journal, try to find a piece of paper and what we'll do for this activity is really think about, the retrospective, removing the roadblocks. So oftentimes we're told or encouraged to maybe not act upon indulgences. So as I mentioned earlier, there's some negative connotations that are associated with the word indulgence. And this activity is really trying to uncover the negativities associated with that word indulgence. So sometimes people may say, don't drink that glass of wine, it'll cause the worst hangover, or don't go to that party, you'll fail your test, or don't bake the cupcakes that you want to bake because you'll indulge and you'll regret that later on. Don't wear that particular outfit because you're drawing too much attention to yourself. Don't voice your opinion. You'll be perceived as difficult, whatever that may be. Over time, that outside chatter that we grow up with or that we kind of somehow encounter in our day-to-day that may not seem to have a huge impact in our lives may trickle in to our own minds at some point, because you're just conditioned to, believe what others are saying or what others may perceive. And it kind of leads to this notion of negative self-talk and really posing these judgments on ourselves on being overly critical, and therefore kind of limiting what we really enjoy, almost as if we don't really deserve that very thing that makes us truly happy. So, what I want each and every one of us to do for this indulgence activity is really take some time and write down any obstacles that have prevented you from fully embracing your indulgences. Think about what those obstacles are. Think about what those roadblocks may be. And think about how they have led you to stray away from acting upon some of your indulgences. It can be some phrases that someone has told you, it can be situations that you've encountered in your life. Try to think about those scenarios, think about those encounters, and really try to look back and think about those feelings that you personally had that may have led you to feel like you don't deserve to indulge. And I encourage you to write them down. And as you write them down, we will take a few minutes to write it down. You can share in the chat what you wrote down if you feel comfortable, and try to take some time and really think about each and every obstacle that you can think of that has led you to limit yourself to those indulgences. And then in a few minutes, we'll regroup. But right now, I will go off video and we'll take a few minutes to write down all those obstacles that prevent you from fully embracing your indulgences. All right. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone being so vulnerable in the chat. I know this one was very difficult to really think about those not so great things and really recognize some of the deeper elements that may lie beneath the surface that really prevent us from being ourselves the way we want to be sometimes. And I think I definitely saw in the chat a common theme of guilt, whether it be trauma related or whether it may be just your circumstances or feeling like, the need to be productive all the time or care for someone, or making time for yourself is taking away time that you can be serving X, Y, and Z, or whatever that may be. I think those are, important things to recognize, because that is, the first step, right? The first step is really recognizing what is preventing us from taking those moments to ourselves, taking that time to really have those indulgences. A lot of, it doesn't always necessarily have to be with, money. Like indulgence doesn't necessarily have to be with food. There's a lot of different ways that indulgences can manifest. I know for me personally, I think I wrote down, this living success on someone else's terms. I think that is an obstacle that I definitely have faced in my adult life, I would say. And especially I'm a first generation American. So my parents immigrated from India, and there's a lot when I think about it, there's a lot to recognize that I do feel this guilt that my family made so many sacrifices to me, and that I should spend a lot of time repaying them. But then, it's not like anything that they say, it's more how I feel. And it's because I've always felt like it was us versus everyone else. And it's hard to break away from certain situations that you are just born into. So I definitely, I see a lot of Brene Brown popping up for recommendations. I love Brene Brown. That is amazing. So sorry, I'm just popping into the chat. I see so many people sharing. But I also want to say, Tanya, I'm so sorry to hear about, what happened in Kentucky, and I'm hoping that everyone in your family is okay. I know it's a tough time, so wishing you all the best, and we're all sending you virtual hugs from wherever we're based. So thank you for sharing, and thank you all. So now what I want us to do is, now that we've written down everything that may have stood in our way from embracing our indulgences, I want us to go ahead and tear up that page. I physically want you to tear it up, okay? I want you to rip up all of those blockers, okay? Nothing is going to stand in your way anymore. The guilt, everything is gone now, okay? We want to tear that up. We've recognized it, and now we're not going to let it stand in our way anymore. So tear that page up. And if you don't feel like tearing it up, if it's in your journal and you have something that you want to save on the other side, you can go ahead and cross it off. That's fine. I want you to do something that will make you recognize that. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Scribbling is fine. There's multiple ways to do this. I know. Make it like, you're done. Those obstacles will not be in your way, and you've written it down, you've ripped it apart, you've scribbled it out. Those blockers that you recognized, that is no longer going to stand in your way anymore. You are just, I love it. I love it. That big X, no more redact. We love to see a big X shred. We love this. This is it. This is the time for us to really think about, okay, how are we going to put ourselves first now that we've figured out what's in our way? Just go ahead and remove it. Just remove it for now. Okay. I invite you to remove it. I know it's harder in real life, but this is the first step. This is the first step to that transition. Okay. And next, what I want us to do is dive into the next prompt, which is your perfect date. Okay. So now that we have learned what we want to do this month, okay, what indulgences we want to indulge in this month, and now that we recognize the obstacles and we've removed them from our lives for this moment, we are now going to turn to page 17 and find your perfect date. Okay. And I invite you to close your eyes. And as I read this prompt, really try to imagine, imagine your perfect date. So imagine a whole day to yourself. You're tasked to take yourself out on a date. How would you spend it? And what would you do? Where would you go? What would you eat? What would you wear? Who would you be? What does it feel like to give yourself the permission to indulge in your life, in your way? And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and go ahead, and we'll take some time and write down and reflect and think about how you would treat yourself on a date. How would you want to be treated, and what would you do? So go ahead and take some time, and we'll spend some time reflecting. And then when you're ready, go ahead and share in the chat what you wrote down. All right. I hope everyone had enough time to write down what they would do on their perfect date. I love what Jeffrey wrote. The section is a little intimidating at first, but as soon as you get started, it kind of just flows naturally. I can totally echo that because I was also like, oh, I don't know. I don't know where to begin really. And I think as I was reading through, everyone had really great ideas. I think, spending a lot of time to really do the things that you love. I just want to read a few of them. I really liked what Darcy wrote, getting up early and drinking coffee on the deck, and reading without distractions, and then getting maybe a little bit of exercise, and then taking a shower and heading to breakfast. What a great like morning just to yourself. That's beautiful. I can kind of envision it right now. And just like reading some books, and someone said going to their favorite restaurant, having permission to just spend time with yourself, eating some dinner, ending the night with some cozy PJs, blankets, candles, and a movie. Yes, I think I normally do that, which is good that I recognize that. But I think it's definitely something special. Just treating yourself with some time to really unwind from a long day. So absolutely love what everyone dropped in. Thank you all for sharing. I think there's so many more that popped in. Also, beautifully written, guys. I think this is really, really pretty and really nice that you recognize what you can do for your perfect day, and hopefully that inspires you to maybe make some time for yourself at some point in the near future to really take yourself on that date. You've already written it down, you've done the hard work, and the next step is to really take yourself on that date. So appreciate you all for writing that down. And then the next piece on the same page is, we'll spend like maybe 2 minutes writing down some, maybe some actions, some actions that we can draw out from our perfect date. What will you indulge in that perfect date? So some examples that they say in the journal are ordering flowers, indulging in your favorite activity, making a dinner reservation for your favorite restaurant, or buying a nice dress for that certain event, whatever that is. I want you to kind of spend a minute and write down what are those actions, those small steps that you can take that will help you get one step closer to that indulgence activity. So with that, I will hop off for like 1 minute, and then we'll regroup. And then once you've written them down, pop them in the chat, and we will circle back. All right. I love what people are writing in the chat. I saw, I think it was Tanya who said she's going to send herself a winter bouquet, which I absolutely love. There's nothing better than sending yourself flowers. I think, it's extra special, as Jennifer said it, it's extra special that you're sending it to yourself. You're giving yourself that gift. And that's really, really important. I think a lot of people, someone said tea, there's a lot of odes to like having some sort of tea, tea room. um, I've I think I've done high tea once and it was incredible. There's nothing better than little mini sandwiches and a beautiful platter and indulging in some delicious, delicious tea. And sometimes it's okay to pretend as if I'm somewhere fancy and just have my little high tea at home. There's no shame in that. So honestly, that inspires me. I might do that this evening. So absolutely love all the actions that we're going to take to really indulge this month or this week, if we can. A lot of dinner reservations. There's so many beautiful ideas for all of us to really get inspired from one another. So that's awesome. And ooh, dressing up too. Love that. We love a good dress up. Cool. Awesome. So with that, we will close tonight's Sonder Social. It's so sad to say goodbye, but I encourage you, for those of you that are new to Silk and Sonder, definitely be sure to download the Silk and Sonder app. If you have an Android device or an Apple device, here are the QR codes. And if you would like to, what I typically do is I pop into Sonder Club after Sonder Socials, and I would love, love, love to see, either your setup or, maybe your Indulgences ornaments that you created, or, maybe your torn pieces of paper or your X's that you wrote on some of those blockers. I would love to see kind of, what you did during the Sonder Social. So please be sure, if you feel comfortable, to share with the rest of the Silk and Sonder community what you did during your Sonder Social. And also, there will be a feedback survey, and we really encourage you to fill that out and make sure that you fill that out, because we really do read each piece of feedback. One of the feedback that we got before was not enough Sonder Socials. They keep getting sold out. So as a result, we really made sure that we created more events for you all, because we want to best serve the Silk and Sonder community. So we're constantly taking ideas from the broader group and seeing how we can incorporate that into each of our Sonder Socials. So please be sure to check that out. And on the Silk and Sonder app, there is an events button. So if you click that, that'll show you some of the upcoming Silk and Sonder events that we have in the near future. So be sure to check that out. There's so many different Sonder Socials. Yes, there is a coloring page Sonder Social. Jennifer O typically does that. And she is incredible. She's amazing. She finds songs that pertain to colors. She's next level amazing. So I know you already interacted with her tonight, so be sure to check that out. And there's a lot more awesome facilitators out there that will be hosting a few more this December. So be sure to pop in, and definitely we'll hope to see each and every one of you at my next Sonder Social. I had so much fun being your facilitator tonight. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.
Spent all of our time outside all day, doing whatever we like our way. Didn't need a wall to build a new space. Every moment just came together like 2 feet hanging in the water. A few trees stood a little taller. New breeze feels so good. Can't help but remind me that it was a good day. Yeah. Not much to do but just stay around. Yeah, it was a good day. I'm so glad the sun stayed around. Yeah, it was a good day. Not much to do but just stay around. Yeah, it was a good day. I'm so glad the sun stayed around. No more school, no more rules, no more room to feel these blues. You and views all afternoon. Look at all the time we don't have to give up. Everything we're giving is enough. Moments fit together like a glove. All my questions answered by this. It was a good day. Yeah. Not much to do but just stay around. Yeah, it was a good day. I'm so glad this